Hello, everybody. My name is Conor, aka OKayFabe, here with OneWrestling.com, your official TNA Impact Wrestling reporter for OneWrestling.com. Recently, I just had the utmost pleasure interviewing Mr. Ed Ferrara, the former writer for WCW, WWE/F, and of course TNA Wrestling. We spent a good chunk of time talking about his past, his bringing up in the business, as well as, of course, his creative stints in those companies. I provided with you guys a brief clip here on OneWrestling.com. If you guys want to see the entire full uncensored interview, feel free to head over to my YouTube channel. I'll provide the link down in the description box below, but also want to give the opportunity to plug a couple of things for Mr. Ed Ferrara, of course, or sorry, Ed. He likes to just be called Ed. We get into that a lot, trust me. Make sure to follow him on Twitter over at the Ed Ferrara. Also, he will be appearing at WrestleCon, courtesy of Gimmicktree Entertainment, this coming WrestleMania weekend, Saturday, April 2nd, along with his partner in crime, Vince Russo. And speaking of which, he will be appearing on a future episode of Raw As Good As It Gets, part of the Vince Russo brand. Again, link for the YouTube channel down in the description box below. Make sure you check out all the amazing stuff. Personal big thanks and shout outs once again to Mr. Ed Ferrara, and enjoy the clip. Again, if you want to see the full uncensored version, head over to my channel. The link's down below. Enjoy this, well, interesting preview of my interview with Ed Ferrara.
And like 2 days later, I got a call from Vince McMahon asking me if I wanted to do it full time. So, my wife and we packed up and we moved to Connecticut.
I can't even, like, I'm trying to picture yourself, like, how I would react in your shoes in that exact same scenario. I'd probably scream like a little girl. That's amazing how, like, fast they put you through everything. So, I did know that you basically were starting at King of the Ring 98. So, was that kind of surreal to be backstage when that match and that moment happened? Where it's like, hey, it's your first day, look what just happened. Mick Foley almost died.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the thing. It was also, I was backstage and I wasn't near the talent. I was over by the monitor. I was just watching everything. But yeah, it was very surreal watching everybody's reactions and all the other things that were going on backstage at the time. It was very surreal. On the plus side, though, everybody was so inviting and welcoming and pleasant, and it was really, it really went a long way to make me go, okay, I want to do this when the offer came from Vince, because, that was kind of, at that time, I had to say to myself, okay, I am leaving my career to go do this, because, you could say, well, that's television, but it's a very different thing. And and when you're a TV writer, it's out of sight, out of mind. And I knew by leaving Los Angeles, I was effectively leaving that career behind and starting a brand new chapter in my life. So I had to consider that. But at the time, I had to. I always wanted to run away and join the circus. And this was the circus calling me and saying, hey, do you want to come and run away with us? So I was like, sure, absolutely.
Yeah, I'd be in the same shoes as you. I'd be like, yeah, of course I would if that opportunity arose. But it just, I was just looking through, like I said, when I was doing the homework, it was just very interesting that on all the days that you start, it has to be on probably one of the most, shocking, I don't say horrific, but close to it, like, in wrestling history. It's like, so welcome to WWF. That's Mick. He can't get up right now, but he's gonna wave to you and say hi. Like, holy cow!
Yeah, that thing in his beard is his tooth.
Yeah. Hold on, he just has to blow his tooth out his nose. Excuse him for a second. Yeah. That's just surreal. Now, so obviously it sounds like you're going back to Vince Russo for a second. It's gonna be hard to switch between Vinces. So obviously you and Russo are still good friends. It sounds like, because I know that you did the Swerve with him, and you're gonna be doing obviously that upcoming show as well too. Which shout out to Vince Russo and the Vince Russo brand as well too. Good stuff. Definitely go check them out on YouTube. So you guys still talk regularly, or is it just kind of, doing your own thing separately? Do you guys still keep in contact very often, or is it just kind of more like, passing by, how's the family kind of doing deal?
Actually, we keep in touch. I mean, we keep in touch regularly, even though, like, sometimes months can go by without any contact. I mean, Vince is like the brother that I never had. And we just, there's a closeness between the two of us. We have had our ups and downs, but I think that's only made us closer friends in the meantime. So No, we're very close. We speak regularly. There are times when he reaches out to me. There are times when I reach out to him. If anything is going, if we're going through rough times or something, we're always there for each other. So it's a good thing. We're really close. And I'll also at the end remind me, and I want to plug something at the end.
Yeah.
For WrestleMania weekend too, that I'm making an appearance with him at WrestleMania weekend.
Which I will see you there.
That's right. You had mentioned that.
Yeah,
yes.
I will be at WrestleCon as well. I won't have a booth. I'm not that fancy. I don't have that much. I mean, it's enough to just go there. But I will. I'll get a chance to personally see you and Vince there at WrestleCon. I want to come by that table and personally thank you for this interview while I'm there too. So, so obviously I don't want to say rambling, but obviously the opinion throughout the internet wrestling community, which, take it for what it's worth, that you and Russo were credited with a lot of the successes during the Attitude Era of the WWF. And there's so many different aspects that I could discuss because, like I said, I just love to pick your brain as far as the creative aspect, but I know we only have so many hours in the day and so much precious sunlight, so I don't want to ramble on. Like,
yeah, we're burning daylight.
Tell me more, Uncle Ed. Tell me more. But first things first, just for you personally, and I know you were talking about this as far as when you were first there, Russo giving you, like a promo or whatever have you. But if you could just kind of take us through, let's say, an abridged version of like what the writing was like, because I'm assuming it's, they say online that it's much similar of there's a team in place and basically there are several writers and the writers pitch various segments to whoever the lead writer is, or maybe Vince, depending on who. And then it kind of goes from there. So were you given like specific segments or matches or points or like angles? Like, I know this is like the subject we can go into like for like hours, but like, but just kind of like short, like an abridged version of that. Is that what the creative process was like? I know that's a loaded question, but
no, it's a great question because there is a very specific answer to it, and the answer is this. Right now, like you kind of hit it on the head. Right now, there's a huge staff of writers. A huge staff of writers, and the writers, they come up with ideas for different talents, things, ideas for storylines, blah 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 blah. They're just generating ideas and ideas and stories and stories and stories and stories.
Is it just like are they just spewing things out?
Well, I mean, you know what? I can't speak to. I can only speak to the larger framework. I don't know what the writers' room is like or what their meetings are like because, as we'll get to that, it's very different now from what it was when I was there.
Right.
But they pitch out their ideas, and they pitch their idea to the head writer for the show, the head writer for Raw, head writer for SmackDown, and that writer, they massage the ideas that they're going to work with and come up with the best way to pitch it. So then the ideas change a little bit, and then they go and pitch the ideas to I don't know, either Hunter or Stephanie or one or the other or both of them, and then again they'll pitch the ideas and they'll take some, they'll leave some, they'll massage others, they'll change things, and then Hunter or Stephanie then goes and pitches the ideas to Vince, the old man, and then the ideas either get left behind or changed or what. So the ideas, there's like numerous steps along the way where any idea can, get dismissed. There are so many cooks that by the time you come up with what they actually end up doing, it seems like it has to go through so many different filters that it, whatever they end up with is probably a pale imitation of what the original idea was. And I think that might have something to do with some of the creative doldrums that we're seeing in the product. As opposed to back when I was doing it, the writing staff, the writing committee, the entire creative team was Vince Russo, myself, and Vince McMahon. And that was it. And so, and now granted, back then we had Raw and the pay-per-views and, the 1 hour weekly syndicated programming, which was just matches anyway.
Right.
But that was it. It was just us coming up with everything. And the way it worked with us was Vince Russo and I would get together at his house early in the morning, like maybe 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. and we would go into his den, and we would sit there with legal pads, and we would have Jerry Springer on the TV in the background, and we would just start spitballing ideas and revise and building stories for the next week's episode of Raw.